What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 163 of the U.S.S. Enterprise D tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. Also, be sure to check out the Discord. I'll have a link in the description below. Today we've got about a 17-minute episode. We're going to be just cleaning up some work in the bridge, and then we're actually going to be shifting gears into the exterior of the ship and working on our new entryway points into the ship. So without further ado, let's kick back, relax, and jump right into it. So we're going to be going on the left side to where our conference room will be. And this left side wall was just something that I never got a chance to clean up. So we're going to take this opportunity to just kind of flatten this wall out just a little bit more than what we have. I can probably even put a block right there in the corner. That doesn't look too bad. So anytime you're deleting stuff, it's always a good idea just to double check to see what you can delete and what you can't. So I always do that very gingerly, and I take my time. That definitely looks a lot better than what we had before. And for some reason it's not letting me put a block up there. Probably because I have to delete that and then replace it. Yeah, just wrapping up a couple of loose ends here in the bridge that I haven't gotten a chance to clear up just yet. Now that that's done, we're going to be shifting off into the outside of the ship. So to pause this briefly, so what we're going to be doing is first we're going to start off and we're going to cut out a doorway, but then we're actually going to have to move it because if I'm not mistaken, the airlock to get on the ship is actually located on this little strip like right in here. But the problem that we're going to have with that right now, why I didn't start it here initially, is that this strip right here is only one block high, so it's not high enough for us to put that entryway point. So, I mean, you know, again, this just goes back to sometimes you just got to throw something down, see how it looks, and make an adjustment as you go. As you can see, even where we're putting it right now, like we have some room to play with right here to where we haven't necessarily utilized this deck as more than likely just going to be an empty filler deck that we don't utilize, which is why I thought this was a perfect place to initially put the airlock. But again, you know, the main problem with it is that it doesn't fit in with the models and the design of the Enterprise D as far as where the airlock should actually go. But you know, again, I wanted to show this area because, you know, I like to show my changes as I go. And hey, you never know, somebody might decide that, you know what, I like that airlock right where it's at. So that's our main reason for showing that. So now we're going to be shifting off into fixing it. So I did something off camera just on this left side here. I converted this strip for the torpedo launcher and I made it too wide. So too high instead of one. So we're not reinventing the wheel or doing anything crazy. We're keeping the same template that we have. We're just bringing it down a block. That's it. So it just really comes down to following your pattern. You follow your pattern, you can't make a mistake. Because the work, you think of it this way, that the work is already done. We're just taking the same design and we're stretching it down by a single row. This way we can accommodate adding in that airlock. I think that's going to work out just fine. The only downside to making this too wide is that now it will probably make this ship look just a little bit slightly smaller, because that was my main concern with doing details like this, because when you make them look smaller, it can make the ship look larger, and you make them look bigger, it makes the ship look smaller. At least that's the logic behind it. So I mean, I think that we can get away with stretching this out by 1 block, and it's not really going to affect it too much. But if we want anything more than that, it would just get to a point where it wouldn't look right. But this addition, this change that we're going to be making, this is really only to accommodate the airlock. So I mean, if you're not planning to add in this airlock right here, like, you can totally forego this step. It's not necessarily a requirement. We're just doing this so that we can actually add in a designated place to come in and do our ship, because you think of it like this, we're basically doing prep work for when we're going to be closing up our shuttle bay doors on the primary, secondary, and tertiary. And once we do that, there's going to be no way to get inside the ship. So we have to figure out a way to get inside of it. So I think this will be, you know, great time to add in a doorway and then close that up to make it look all nice and clean. So now we've got to actually basically clear out this room. And you're going to notice when we get back to our turbo lift that we're actually 1 block lower than the actual airlock doorway, which honestly isn't a big deal. There's either 1 or 2 things that we could do to fix this. We could either shift our torpedo bay piece here. We can move it up by 1 row this way to make it the same height. To be honest with you, the lesser of the 2 evils, in other words, the least work between the 2, is just to take this shaft and bring it down by 1. This isn't something I necessarily like to do. I try to keep my levels in proportion with one another, and keeping those patterns in line with deck to deck so everything matches up. But here and there, we can get away with stuff like this. It's honestly, it's not a deal breaker. It's not gonna really affect the ship. Just on this level, if we have it, you know, being 1 off. This way we can accommodate being able to actually build on this deck now. And see, just that change right there, like, we don't have to really do anything else other than flesh out the room itself. We got clearing the floor, because you gotta be careful, because we're gonna have to use carpeting to fill in the floor, because directly below us is the photon torpedo launcher room. So we can't delete the floor, because if we go even a block down, we're going to be going into that next room. But an easy way around that is just to use the carpeting, and then we can fill in the floor and do whatever we need to do. Now you can see I'm clearing out this space in the front. To be honest with you, I never utilized this area on the ship. I cleared it out with the intention of doing something with it, but I never quite decided what I wanted to do. So it's kind of, once I got the room together, this front forward area just kind of was left alone. But the space is available so that those of you that maybe want to add something to this, you can definitely do that. I almost thought of like making it like a prep area, or like maybe you're getting ready to leave the ship or come aboard the ship. You'd have like maybe like a lounge area or something like that that could go here. If I hadn't lost my save file, more than likely I would have come back to this area and fleshed it out more in the front. Now that being said, every other area on this specific deck we will flesh out. It'll just be that front section that we really don't get a chance to come back to. Alright, so we've got about our ceiling cleared out here. I don't think we can take anything off the sides any more than where we're at. We're pretty much maxed out on our space. So I mean, we don't have a lot of room to work with here, but we've got just enough room that we can make it work. So now we're just going to fill in our ceiling here. This is looking pretty good so far. So note there are a couple people disappointed that I lost a save file in the Enterprise D, and trust me, I feel your pain on it, because this was almost 2 years of work that I lost. So I did everything I could do to retrieve the save file, and unfortunately Um, it's gone. So there's nothing I can do to get around it. But this is one of the reasons why I'm so thankful that at least I record in advance. So um, there's still content that I haven't even released yet that we'll be able to do on the Enterprise D, which will be pretty cool. But it's going to be kind of like a bittersweet thing for me because I won't be able to make any further changes to it. Alright, so you can see I cut out another doorway here, and that's just because I was looking at pictures of the Enterprise D in this area, and the airlock didn't look like it was further, it wasn't far back enough. So we need to adjust that. And that's looking pretty good. It's not looking bad. I think we're going to move it forward by 2 rows. I think we do that, we'll be right where we need to be. This way it's not so far on this back line here. It's just got a little bit of breathing room, but it's still pretty far back. That's right where we want to be. That looks great. Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't think it really affects it all that much making that strip 1 block thicker. If we went 3, that would have been too much. It just would have made it look fat. But that doesn't look bad. So now what I'm doing, now like on the front of the strip here, the ship like has like these cuts going at an angle. And I think I've tried to do them a couple of times during the course of this tutorial, but nothing has come out right that I'm particularly happy with. Other than just doing a straight line down, and when I did that, that looked honestly horrible. But I haven't necessarily been able to crack it, so I'm just going to opt out of adding those for now and getting rid of them. So now at this point, it's just a matter of cleaning this room up and adding in our design cues from the other areas of the ship to bring it all together. Tell you what though, there's just so many things that they could do in Minecraft. I don't understand why they haven't done it yet. And I honestly didn't think of this until right now. Like, I don't understand, for example, why they don't have concrete carpeting, or at least the texture of it, so that you can, when you're in situations like I'm in now, where we can't delete the floor that's below us, but we can add a thin layer to make it look like it's a different color, because that's like the only downside with my build right now, is that the carpeting doesn't match the floor in some of the other areas on the ship. Now, bear in mind, this is something to take into consideration. Enterprise D did have carpeting. I just thought that the texturing of the carpeting that we have here doesn't look as good as opposed to the concrete blocks. The concrete blocks look much cleaner, in my opinion. And I wanted to add like computer consoles in right there, just to give the room something of a mechanical feel to it, even though there's not going to be much, but we can't even go any further out than that because then we'll be building on the outside. entryway hub. To be honest, what we should do in that ceiling is put sea lanterns down and then cover that with half slabs. This will give us a nice light source in this room. That's honestly the best thing to do. Yeah, see, that looks good. Maybe swap that out for the white terracotta. There we go. I have one more corner to do. I totally missed it. Now, just to see what it would look like when it was sealed up. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't look bad. But still, I don't know. I think it's missing something on the outside. What we could do is take the... we could take stairs and flip them upside down. So kind of make like this bracket on the outside of the doorway. I'll show you here in a minute what I mean. Just to give it something just a little bit more on the outside for the entryway point. Because that's what I keep coming back to. I keep zooming out and looking at the outside of the ship thinking, what else does it need? And I know that it's missing something. And I've just given you guys a spoiler and told you what we're going to end up doing. But this is honestly what I do. When I'm stuck on something, I'm not sure what I want to do. I just kind of cruise around and look at the ship until I figure out what I want to do. Or I'll try to do problem solving. I'll do a couple of things until I end up where I want to land. And see, doing the stairs and flipping them, it kind of makes like this bracket point now, and like it feels more like an airlock than it did before. Yeah, I think that'll work out just fine. There, we don't need those anymore. Say took care of that one corner off camera, the one that was missing, swapping out the gray for the white terracotta. Yeah, I mean, that looks great. Like, just that little line right there, it adds just a little bit more texture to the airlock itself. I think that's money right there. That looks great. So I just kind of found in the course of building on Minecraft is that, you know, there's just going to be a trial and error period, you know. So I say you got to throw something down, see how it looks, and just make adjustments to it. Because if you have something to start off of, it'll come out that much better as if you just kind of throw something down the first time without necessarily a plan in place, I guess. That worked out pretty good. So we've got our new airlock in place, so now we're going to start covering up our shuttle bays. And literally I'm going with a cut line. And in the previous episodes we already did our outline for shuttle bay. So even with us closing this in, we're not going to lose the outline and placement of where the shuttle bay is going to be from the outside. You'll still know where it's at. And to be honest with you, this is another area where if you're planning on keeping your shuttle bays open, you can skip this step. You don't have to close them up. I always want to make a point to add in my shuttle bay doors just for those of you that might want to do that, you know, to close it up. And see, this row here, we're going to have to do two. There's just no way around it because that first row to the left, it's too long, and then so that's why that next section there where the cut was too long as well. Now, and this is the thing too. To be perfectly honest with you, I think the Enterprise D looks good with the shuttle bays open as well as closed. It looks good either way. But this is just gonna again, come down to personal preference. Which way do you like more? Um, you may even be more like me in that regard, where you might go back and forth. Because I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes I will go back to my builds, and I'll decide like, you know what, I want to have the shuttle bay open, and I'll open it up, or I'll have it open for a while, and then I just decide to close it. Um, that's the Gemini in me coming out, where I'll go back and forth on something here and there. There wasn't really a way either with to add in like the redstone doorways where I could make it actually open and close. Not with this design anyway, and have it be this clean. I think you will be surprised just how nice it's going to look with the shuttle bays closed, especially with us adding in or taking the time to add in the outline of the doorways. So this way when we close it in, again, we don't lose the shape of the shuttle bays, right where they are, and it just has a nice, real clean look to it. Only downside to closing this up is now from the outside we're losing all this detail that you can't see looking inward. Which is definitely a cool aspect, but still being able to see it closed, um, there's something about that just looks fantastic. Now, this is something that I can say because I know that I've come back to it, that the main shuttle bay here where we're doing the doors, we're going to be making some adjustments to this because I'm almost 99.9% certain we're actually going to go back one with a cut line, and then where it has the NCC registration, we're going to move that to the outside section of the shuttle bay door. That was something that I didn't necessarily notice until I got to this point in the build, that when I was looking at models in the Enterprise D, that the registration was on the outside of the shuttle bay doorway. But that's not something that we're really going to mess with today. We're really just going to be going with our cut line here and filling this in. We won't even get to the point of doing it all the way. I'm just going to basically start this off for you guys and show you how to do it and let you guys finish it. And then we'll come back to it within the remaining episodes that we have, and we'll get that taken care of. See, even up here we took the time to do the outline of our shuttle bay, so now when we go to close it in, we're not going to lose the shape of the doorway. And I'm just building off the outline itself. And then I'm just going to build out and go with the cut line itself. The best way to do this so that you don't make a mistake, and it's just how I'm doing it now, is I'm adding in every single row until we get to that cut point, and then I'll basically repeat this same process again, taking the cut line into consideration. Actually missed that by one. I need to bring it out one more. And I actually had made a mistake. You guys won't be able to see this, but my cut line with the top doesn't match the bottom. So that's why I'm stretching this out by one single row. So this way my cut line from the top matches the bottom. This next row here, we have to make this too long because when we go to left or right with the cut, that it's got a row of two instead of a single for this top row. that's basically it. Now at this point, is just bringing the row all the way down, and then once we do that, this doorway will be closed. Now something that you are going to notice, and I'll pause it right here, these two corners right here, you'll see that this is something that I didn't get a chance to do, but don't worry, because we are actually going to redesign this door. So if you want to hold off on building this right now, you can, because we're actually, the exact design that we have right now, we're literally going to move it down by a half slab. That's basically what we're going to do, and then this whole registration, we're going to be moving that back and just trying to get that on the outside so this way it matches how it actually look on the ship. But yeah, we're slowly but surely starting to catch up to the end of the Enterprise D. Episode 193 is going to be the last one, and then we'll be off to doing Voyager. I don't know if Voyager is going to pick up right where the Enterprise D ends. I might have a short gap in between them just to give me a chance to maybe recharge on doing videos. I haven't decided yet. We'll kind of play that by ear. But I want to bring this up more to see if people want to get involved with it, because I need two things. I need a panoramic view on the outside of the Enterprise D in a video, basically flying around the outside of the ship, and also a tour of the interior. So those of you that want to participate in that, if you want to post your videos in the Discord, or if that's something that you're interested in doing, let me know. Then I might actually make a tab for it, so this way people can post their videos, and maybe the most accurate one that I've done, or the most accurate one that somebody posts to what I made, we'll have people vote on it for the winner, and we'll do that as a way of being able to actually have a tour of the Enterprise D as well as a video to go with it once it's been completed. But before I let you guys go, you can see I did start to delete this because, like I said, we're basically going to erase everything that we just did right here, so that we can move this down by one row. But we'll touch base on that when we come back to this area. But we're pretty much out of time today, so I think that's going to wrap us up today. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. And if you did enjoy this content, please help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Everybody that takes the time to watch these videos, likes, comments, you guys are all awesome. I can't thank you enough for that. Also, new subscribers, don't forget to hit notifications on so you can always get notified when those new videos drop. And speaking of new videos, you can always catch my new Minecraft episodes dropping Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you have any questions regarding today's episode, be sure to drop a comment below. Or any suggestions, you can do that on the Discord under build suggestions. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week. I'll catch you in the next episode. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Post your video or post your pictures in the Discord under community builds. All right, everyone, have a great week.